welcome everyone to Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. As always, I am Justin Davis, and I'm joined by the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, the great Miss Amy Vaughn, and the namesake of the show, the man who counted Ric Flair's last match, Mr. Pondwater Dave Miller. What's up, guys?
Hey, everybody.
Yay, Pondwater.
Excited to have everybody here. Not one or two, but the whole darn crew from Ryse Wrestling.
Exactly. Awesome.
We're a big family.
We have Mr. Chris LeRusso.
Chris, you're muted.
I turned myself off. Hey, thank you for having me.
We have Brandon and Christy K.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us on here. Very excited. Very excited.
And the woman that holds the microphone, Miss Meighan Nelson.
Hi, everybody.
Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for having us. It's always appreciated.
We can't wait to dive in and learn just about everything we possibly can about all the good things y'all have going on at Ryse.
And your big event this weekend.
Yes, we're very excited. Very excited. It's in Uniontown, PA. So if you're watching this, come see us on September 9th.
Yeah. Well, I know Mike Mober in the chat. I know he's coming. He told me that last week.
He better come. He hasn't been to one show.
He said he's coming to this one.
Yes, he did. He told us he's coming to this one.
As long as the Penguins aren't playing at home that day.
Well,
our biggest competitors.
We still have some time.
I texted them. They said that they're good. They're not going.
Mario says cool. We're all right.
Well, part of the reason that we named the show the Pondwater Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave is that under the umbrella of Pondwater Dave, we can do silly and stupid stuff, and we're really trying to drive subscriptions to our YouTube channel. So we got to thinking, and that's dangerous.
Oh boy!
But if we can get to 200 subscribers, we're going to do the one chip challenge.
Oh!
I'm going to do it. Oh, look at Amy already got it.
I already got it.
Oh,
where am I supposed to get this from?
I got mine off Amazon.
I got mine from Circle K.
Oh, okay.
We don't have Circle K's in Kentucky.
Well, I saw them at 7-Eleven.
At 7-Eleven, would have them just.
Okay, so I've got to go out and buy one of these.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm having some huge, I'm very scared we're gonna hit 200 because I'm having some huge doubts. Seek medical assistance should you. This is on the back.
And I just read that someone died after
it was
the
14. It was a 14-year-old.
Yes. And I can tell you right now, it's going to F me up because I sweat if I smell a buffalo wing.
Oh, I'm going to have yogurt and milk and everything ready to go.
I can't even do barbecue sauce, so I'd die.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I am going to die, Christy. And so I'm very concerned about this. After touching the chip, wash your hands with soap. Don't get in your eyes.
Gloves. Wear gloves.
I'm going to glove up for it, definitely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think medium salsa is hot. This is going to kill me.
I can't believe you said you were going to do it.
Well, it's the excitement of, oh, yeah, let's do that. And then I got it, and then I read the back. And then it's just if you're, don't eat if you are sensitive to spicy foods. Well, that doesn't seem like a good idea to me because I'm, sensitive, and so I just want to be one of the boys, and then I get myself in trouble.
I'm gonna do your eulogy at the funeral, Amy, after you eat the chip.
I have a question to ask Dave. So, Dave, what do you think is worse? Getting chopped by John McChesney or taking that chip?
Oh.
Oh.
I'll take the chop.
Well, they're both going to burn for a while.
Well, John, I have some experience with McChesney from back in the day, and when John broke into the business, one of his first rivals was Loki, and this is back when Loki was just messing people up left and right. Right when he was at his prime in Ring of Honor, and John basically, for survival, he had to go chop for chop with Loki. So he knew that if he didn't develop some real blistering chops, Loki would eat him alive. And now I put him up there with the hardest I've ever been chopped is two people. One is Hardcore Holly, and the other is John McChesney.
Really? Hardcore Holly? What
Oh, yeah.
happened there? How did you get chopped by him?
It was myself and Jock Sampson versus Hardcore Holly and a Pittsburgh wrestler by the name of Andrew Pallas. And this was oh God, about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 at this point. But
Okay.
you know, and of course, Holly's reputation precedes him.
Yeah.
So I knew that it was going to be and sort of a very similar situation. It's like, fight back or you're going to get eaten alive.
Right.
So.
Right.
I love that Royal Rumble where Hardcore Holly and Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit just beat the shit out of that one guy for like
Daniel Puder.
3 years.
Daniel Puder. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When I was training, we had a night where it was going to be chop night.
Mm-hmm.
And all the wrestlers got in the ring and all the students got chopped. When all 4 corners went all the way around the ring. So there was somebody would chop you in the corner, somebody chop you in the middle, somebody chop you in the corner, and you went all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
And BJ Turner was, I mean, his chops were brutal. But then there was a wrestler named Luke Bronson, who's probably about 6'2", 6'3", and he did a double-handed chop, and I got him last. And when he came down, I mean, my chest looked like hamburger meat. It was bleeding. It was bad. I mean,
Lord.
Poor Dave.
On the day at the
didn't-
office.
I didn't cry about it. I did it, but it was. See, Mike Fox was in there. A guy named Brandon Turner.
And they did. You
Robert
just went
Evans.
corner, you
Robert
just
Evans
went-
didn't chop that hard though.
Well, I'll tell you. Oh, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying you went corner to corner and just got the hell beat out of you.
Yes.
Well, I'll throw Brandon Kay's name into the list. Brandon Kay had to wrestle the Samoans for a while when he first started in, and Samu was a regular in the Pittsburgh scene. And Brandon, you had to wrestle Samu probably about a dozen times. Like that's got to be at least a dozen times.
Yeah, him and Offa Jr., who was very underage at the time, but it was still fun to work with. He was a lot smaller. But Samu knocked the soul out of me a few times, yeah. That's probably the hardest chops I've taken. And he liked me a lot, so I'm glad. Because if he didn't like me, I don't know what the heck would happen.
I know who had the weakest chops of all time, and that was Rick in that last match when he could barely go at the end. He was just like...
I hope I look that good. I hope I look that good at his age. That's all I'll say. So.
Well, he still partied till 4 a.m. after that match. Remember, all he had to do was prove he can drink a bottle of water, and he didn't have to go to the hospital. And then he partied on Broadway with some NWA guys till
In
4.
fairness, he took a nap during the match.
That's true. He was recuperated. Rick's the only guy I know who's like, about died from dehydration. Let's drink more tonight. Let's do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
really.
what a night. What a
There's
night.
only one Ric Flair.
That's right. I was in bed, so I don't mean I don't
Well,
have the capabilities of a 74-year-old man, but whatever. No.
Well, when we were in Dallas, we had gone to a super show for ad-free shows, and Megan was there, and I'd had a few beers, and she came up. She said, Pondwater, can we get you to take a chop from John McChesney? I'm like, okay. There's cameras, and I'm a crowd pleaser, and I'm taking the shirt off, and then somebody from Gillies comes up and says, What are we doing here? I said, we're entertaining. And so then he chops me, and then I'm buttoning back up, and then he goes, oh no, one more. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
So you're saying there's video of this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
John,
I've seen it. Yeah.
John was in town with his wrestling promotion, and then he joined us at the Starcade Super Show. Or not the Starcast, not Starcade. What would you call it? The ad-free show Super Show.
Whatever
And
they did.
we thought it'd be
It was
funny to
WrestleMania
put
week.
Pondwater on stage and chop him.
Yes.
It
you
wasn't
know
on
what?
stage,
I
it was
think
like
I do
out back.
But we
remember
didn't
that.
put him on stage.
Didn't TJ also get chopped by
Yes.
John McChesney? Where? Why is he chopping all y'all?
That was in the
Maybe y'all
bar. That was in the
finished.
bar. I
Enough to do
think.
it.
Sounds like I dodged a bullet never working with him.
Wait,
Really.
who else got
kidding.
chopped? Somebody else got chopped that night?
TJ,
I don't know
I think
about that night, but I've heard TJ.
TJ got chopped by
Steven-
John?
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
he has said he's gotten chopped. That's the hardest he's ever been chopped. Was by John McChesney, and I'm like, I don't know this person, but I definitely know if I see him, I'll be,
Oh,
you gotta
TJ
protect
took one in a
yourself.
bar. I saw
Maybe
that
John
video.
drank.
if
Sorry,
you
Brad.
if you ever have the opportunity to have a few drinks with John McChesney, at some point somebody's getting chopped. That's just sort of the way it goes.
Or he teaches
Okay.
you how to chop. The first night I met John,
That's the but no, that's the gimmick. That's
That's how he gets
like
you.
that's how he gets you, because he'll be like here and then do it, and then he'll take one of yours and they're like,
Oh,
all right,
yeah.
now let me
My little half
wait.
I didn't get chopped. I'm safe.
Well,
like-
But yeah, no,
when we're out having a good time and I've had a few to drink, the last thing in the world I want to hear is Megan say, "Hey, Pondwater,"
Yeah.
because I know
Well-
it's going to end poorly for me.
That sounds Pondwater getting chopped sounds like a bit of a predicament. Pondwater, do you got a Pondwater predicament this week?
It was my predicament this week was my granddaughter. See, and my wife really did me dirty on this because my granddaughter, I'm her favorite.
Okay.
Aw.
What a cutie.
That's Aubrey Lane, and I'm her favorite. But my wife's used to being the favorite for all the nieces, nephews, grandkids. Kids love her. But for some reason, this one loves her pawpaw, and her pawpaw loves her too, which is where the predicament comes in because we're playing. And my wife's in the kitchen, and she's cutting chicken. And I got to go to the bathroom. So I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. I take 2 steps. Pawpaw! And she's going with me. And I'm like, well, now I'm like, hey, you're going to have to come get her. So I got to go to the bathroom. She goes, all right, let me finish this right here and I'll be over there in a minute. So I'm still playing with the baby. And now she wants me to pick her up because she doesn't want me to leave. So I'm standing there and I'm like, hey, I really need you to come get her. So this goes on for about 5 minutes and she's still cutting the chicken. Now she's giggling a little bit while she's cutting the chicken. Now I know I could put the baby down. I could go in. I could lock the bedroom door so she can't follow me in there. But do you want to? Would you close the door on this kid's face? I'm not that bad guy.
You're gonna
So-
break her heart.
So
She can do
finally,
whatever she wants.
my in-laws showed up and my mother-in-law took her from me, so I was able to escape. But
Well,
I mean,
that whole
that was a
story
real predicament because
that whole story reminds me of a John Anderson song. Mama's in the kitchen cutting chicken up to fry.
well now and here's the other bad part. Now that I've shared this story, my Facebook targeted advertising is going to be for Depends.
It isn't already?
No, it finally wore
But,
off the last time I mentioned it.
Dave, we're getting an echo or something.
That might be me. Sorry. Better?
Yes.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, there was our predicament, and we'll go right from that into our trivia, Amy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Trivia.
Ooh.
And yes, don't you love me in my purple double freaking A shirt? Because we all know Arn Anderson is the best. And if I could, I'd do trivia on Arn Anderson every week. But I don't. This week, I figured since you all, Ryse is based out of Pittsburgh, we should be talking about Pittsburgh's pride and joy wrestler, Kurt Angle.
Oh.
So I've got just a few, not a whole lot, just some real general because we could be here for 100 questions if you went through all his accolades and everything that he's done. All righty. So the first question, and it's multiple choice. There is one fill in the blank, so it's real easy. What pay-per-view event did Kurt Angle make his debut? Now, what we do, you can just holler out whatever you think the answer is. Is it A, SummerSlam, B, Survivor Series, C, WrestleMania 2000, or D, Armageddon?
I'm going with Survivor Series.
I'm fairly certain it was a Survivor Series. I don't know why, but that feels right to me.
Anybody have anybody want to go with anything else, or are we all thinking Survivor Series?
Groups of five strive to survive, pal.
I'm thinking it's Survivor Series 2000.
I'm thinking it was Armageddon.
No, Survivor Series 99. Because, Survivor Series 99.
That's what I thought, Megan.
I would say it was 99. I don't think it's not WrestleMania because I was on.
No, he did.
show with him, dark match, but it was May 1999, so he was already working in 99.
When did you two work together, Brandon?
98, 99, right before, like when he started getting into it, he worked at they signed him, but they didn't really have a school back then, so he was going Dory Funk Junior School, but he can only do that once every few months. So we worked out 3 days a week or so between his stints in Florida and his stints back in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
So Brandon should be an expert on Kurt Angle.
Should be. I get ahead.
I mean, pretty sure none of us have worked out with him 3 days a week.
No pressure, Brandon. But if you fail any of these questions, we're gonna make fun.
We're gonna tell him.
Right. You all are. I will say this: you all work really correct. It was Survivor Series, and it was in 1999. He made his debut November 14th, 1999, at Survivor Series from the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. He defeated Sean Stasiak. Was his first pay-per-view match.
I'm just glad to get WWE recent questions. It's usually like, who did Boogie Woogie Man wrestle in Greensboro in 1984?
Both of y'all can kiss my ass because it is not like that. I'm tired of you saying that.
Don't be inviting people to your house if you're not at home, okay?
Arn Anderson wore green trunks that night.
He's never worn green. Anyway, no. He keeps it simple. All right, second question. Fill in the blank. What are Kurt Angle's 3 eyes?
Intensity, integrity, and intelligence.
There we go.
Very good.
Mine starts with ignorance.
Integrity is all I could remember.
Intensity, integrity, and intelligence. Very good.
Great job, Chris. That's why you're the brains behind this operation.
Exactly. Talent relations, I see. Number 3. Which event did Kurt Angle become the WWF Heavyweight Champion for the very first time? Unforgiven, Fully Loaded, SummerSlam, or No Mercy? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Unforgiven.
Well, he won the belt September 2001 at Unforgiven in Pittsburgh. We can't forget that. Would he have won the belt 2 straight Unforgivens?
I thought
did you know he's Mr. Unforgiven?
Yeah, I am pretty sure it is not SummerSlam because my memory, and again, I couldn't, but I think that was Kurt, Rock, and Triple H was that SummerSlam.
Yeah,
2000.
I think it's Unforgiven or No Mercy. It's one of those.
Yeah,
I think No Mercy.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which one. Yeah, I'll go with No Mercy.
Had us watch that match.
I used to have his book. I should pull it out.
It was No Mercy 2000.
Yeah.
Angle actually defeated The Rock in a no disqualifications match. There's a lot of stuff going on in that match. Yeah, no. That was a lot of stuff going on. Yes, Rikishi was there, Stephanie, Triple H. They were all beating each other up.
Rikishi, Andrew Hermes says in the chat. Thank you, Andrew, Willie Buck, Terry Weaver, Coach Keith Morrison.
Hey, guys.
Everybody in the chat joining us. If you guys don't know, you guys that are on with us here, if you click over in comments over there, you can see the chat talking as we talk. So thank you guys for joining us. Ben Jones up early in Australia.
Yes, he comes to us through Australia.
And, of course, Mike Bober, who's just enthused to have 2 weeks in a row of Pittsburgh talk on this show. And I think I'm going to boycott next week if we have to talk about it.
Well, now he wants to watch Unforgiven 2001.
Yeah, we're gonna do a bonus episode and watch it.
Oh, you got to watch. You watch a really old copy though. You can't watch you have to watch the one where it says WWF Unforgiven.
You got to find the VHS.
Because you can hear me yell something on that.
Oh, okay. We like a good treasure hunt. All right, next question. Kurt Angle was the 5th Grand Slam champion in WWF/WWE history. What championship did he win to give him this title? So as you know, Grand Champions, it's the primary, the secondary, and
tertiary,
and the tertiary, and a tag team. So
it was a tag.
Yeah, I feel like it was a tag.
Yeah,
it was a tag title because he went Euro, Intercontinental, World. So tag, it's got to be tag.
It has to be. Yeah.
I agree.
It is
Oh, I
correct. It is. Tag was the last championship that he won. Do you know who he won it with, Chris? Just asking.
Was it with one of his Angle guys when he
That's
formed
what
the
I'm
group?
thinking. I'm thinking it's
Nope.
It's not.
I think
Was it
I
with
would
Chris?
guess Austin.
Was it with Chris Benoit?
It was. They were paired together in a tag team tournament, and they ended up winning the title. So yes,
Oh, that was a pull right there. That was good.
and that happened in October of 2002. So he came in. He won. I mean, if you think about it, in less than 3 years, or actually in 2 years, I guess. I mean, he was literally a Grand Slam champion. He had won at least 4 different titles because he had the European and Intercontinental at the same time. Before before he won the world champion, and then he goes. So he was quite those 3 days a week that you were working out with him, Brandon. That was all you, wasn't it? I know it was.
Well, you know.
Hey, take credit, right? Take credit where it is. All right, next question, number 5. What year did Kurt Angle rank number 1 on the PWI 500? Was it 2001, 2003, 2006? Or 2008?
It's either 1 or 3 for me.
I think it's got
I think it's got to be 1. It's got to be 1. I think it's 1 for just such a hot start. Yeah.
I think it's B. I'm going with B.
All right. Well, it was 2001.
Yep.
You all are correct. Now, in 2003 and 2006, he was ranked number 2. No, wait, I lied. Hold on. He was ranked number 2 in 2006 and 2008. And then in 2003, he was ranked number 3. So he's definitely been in that top 5 for a very long time. And that was the only time. 2001 was the only time he was ranked number 1. All right, number 6. Last question. What year did Kurt Angle go into the WWE Hall of Fame?
I think it was 2018.
15, 16, 17, or 18?
It had to be an 18 because we were married. Because we watched it at Scotty's.
Yeah.
It was 18 because I thought it was more recent than that. But I'd go 18.
You should call Scotty and ask.
If it's like older than 18, I'm going to feel really bad.
Listen to that memory. She's like, we watched it at Scotty's. He served,
you watched it at Scotty's. I know that day.
I remember us crying during that speech. So
she did. I don't cry.
Brandon, were you mentioned?
No, I was, but he did mention Sean Evans. So there was a third person in that trio that working out, and
but he didn't get you. He named the other guy, but not you.
Yeah, but it's okay. Like the other guy was kind of like the veteran at the time, and he was we were working out together, and he was kind of leading us a little bit. So I understand why he did it. You know,
Christy, what did Scotty serve at the party that night? That's what I want to know.
Probably pizza, but
Scotty being lazy. Okay.
Well, if Brandon can forgive Kurt, then I guess I can too.
Yeah.
It was actually, and I don't really know how to do this. It was actually 2017.
Was it really?
It was that we got married. It was right after we got married.
Hey, we've been married way longer now. All right, so my wife's really dropping the ball here. We've been married since 2007.
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, you're right.
But it only feels like it's been a few years.
We'll talk about this later.
Christy, are you partying early?
Yeah,
I am.
I like how Christy talked us all into the wrong answer. Right?
I did too. I didn't know what I was going to say. She had what they had for dinner.
Listen,
they
all I
cried.
know is
That Jezebel.
All I know is if she has to go on trial for something, I'm going to believe her if I'm in the church.
Heck yeah.
She's very convincing.
I'm very convincing.
Yes, but he
Brandon
headlined.
says that I'm aggressively wrong, so there's your example.
Yes. He went in, though.
That's
He was the
hilarious.
headliner for 2017. He went in with Teddy Long, DDP, Beth Phoenix, Rick Rude, and the Rock and Roll Express. So
That's good company.
That is.
yes.
Very good
Oh,
company.
yes.
Rick Rude is one of my favorites ever.
Oh.
Exactly.
Top 3 heel of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So were you all okay with trivia? I didn't ask about
Very
anybody's
good, very good, very
vaccinations,
good. That was good.
anything like that. Like they
We did
said.
good. I thought we did pretty good on that other Christy.
Yes. You
I
did
did
really
not
good.
do good, but you know.
I warned y'all before we started that I was terrible at this.
We was
No,
on a,
it
we
was
was on a
good.
good, he was on a real good roll, and then Christy spoke up.
Might be done in this. I don't know why.
One of these weeks, we're going to do the same trivia 2 weeks in a row and see if we've retained any of it.
I should do that. I should pull some out from previous episodes and see what happened. So
I'm old and feeble-minded. It's all new to me anyway.
All right.
Give us
Well,
Britt Baker next time. We'll just roll through all the Pittsburghers.
yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Amy. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
We try to, or Amy tries to wrap the trivia around the people that we have on in some which way. So there's a Pittsburgh connection. That was fun. Some Kurt Angle knowledge that apparently we were at least halfway aware of. So that is our segment for trivia. Dave, let's talk about some independent wrestling here.
Well, first, let me tell y'all what one of my favorite things about wrestling is.
Belts.
Oh, here we go. Is the music gonna work this time?
Belts.
It's belts. I love wrestling belts. Everybody knows me knows that I have 75 of them.
Oh wow.
That's a
And
collection.
the video's not working.
Lose someone?
It's like every other time.
I know,
What
and I
it
tested
is.
it.
Speaking of belts, Ryse has an awesome Ascension title right now, which looks incredible. So we'll have to get your hands on that belt.
Ooh, yes, we love looking at belts.
Well, we're not going to get to look at them tonight, but I'm going to tell y'all about big time belts.
Yes.
If you are a promotion and you maybe not have the best belts in the world because of budget restrictions, I'm here to tell you that big time belts can help you. You can have quality belts, high quality at low prices with big time belts. If you are, say you're just a sports fan and you want to put your favorite team on a belt, we can do that for you too at big time belts. If you just have a belt in mind that you want because you want to throw it over your shoulder and you want to walk around the house with it because it makes you feel like a badass, big time belts is there for you. High quality and low prices. If you have a dream, you could just scribble on a piece of paper what you want your belt to look like. And Mohammed Zubair can take that basic art, show you what it's going to look like, and then he's going to put it on metal and leather for you. He's going to have it back to you in a reasonable amount of time. Most belts are under $300.
Oh wow.
I had a friend that was the 420 champion, and that belt was purdy. So
And it
you
doesn't
get
have to be
anything
wrestling.
you want made.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
He
was
just
gonna say, it doesn't
recently
have
did
to
the
be wrestling.
BIW tag team titles, and I was proud to hold him in the ring the other night before the match. He's done SWA here in Mississippi just replaced all their belts, and they used big time belts. He's AWA. I mean, the list goes on and on. I saw a belt today that's going to South Carolina that is absolutely beautiful. So if you need any help at all with your belt, you can reach out to me. But look for Big Time Belts on Facebook. It's Facebook group Big Time Belts. And we thank Mohammed Zubair for sponsoring our show.
And as Dave said, you can get sports-made belts. I think they're selling Clemson belts for 5 cents right now. You can get on there and pick those up.
Well, and that'd be a good thing to have for. I know a lot of people are doing fantasy football. That could be if you are out there and you're doing a fantasy football league, that could be an awesome award, I guess. Whoever wins, and then that's something that can be passed on. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Terry Weaver said. It's fantasy football season.
I'm gonna look into them.
And
Yeah.
guys,
Seriously.
you might think that your wife will get mad at you if you say, Dave, I can't spend $300 on a belt because my wife will get mad. Trust me, dude, I got 75 of them. They get over it. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen? She's not going to speak to you for a couple of weeks. It's football season. It's football season. You don't want her to talk right now anyway. Buy a belt and then put it on and put your house coat on and walk up to her and open the house coat, let her see the belt and say, the champ is here. Not that I've ever
Always
done
forget.
anything like that at all.
Yeah. Poor Stephanie.
I think at Ryse we pride ourselves on our beautiful belts, and the newest one is unbelievable. So yeah, Dave will have to maybe send it to you and just, you know, I mean, a picture and show you what it looks
I'd
like.
love to see it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
Can you guys tell us what Ryse stands for and how that name kind of became a thing? Does anyone? I'm sure you guys can tell us.
Oh boy, that's a long story.
Yeah.
Strap it. No. So there, I don't know how deep you want me to get into, but when I started the company, all of us started the company. There's 4 owners. We wanted a place where, so I taught a school in Pittsburgh from another company, and I was branching out into my own school and everything. And I wanted a place for my students to go. And Pittsburgh's always been a really hot wrestling town, but I didn't like the system. Not that it was bad or wrong, but for me, I didn't like the way my students were going into it and how they were kind of old. They were still old school. Like, so when a rookie comes into wrestling, I mean, they're just pounded. They're put on the bottom of the card. It's really hard for them to learn in that first year because they're just taking licks and all these things. And I didn't want that for my students because I put a lot of pride into them and a lot of work. So I started Ryse as a place for my students to have all students, not just mine, but all students to have a place to learn and get better and get to the next level so they could get higher up on the cards. So, and then Ryse is just I didn't want to use 3 letters. I was just trying to be different, but I like the name Ryse because I feel like it's a lot of like our attitude towards things. Like we want to be better. We want to make other people better that come through us. Like when someone leaves us, I want them to say, wow, I'm a little bit better because I worked that show for Ryse Wrestling.
Well, I think like you described at the beginning where a lot of guys are training and learning, they're rising to become better wrestlers. So it kind of goes into the name there.
Yeah, and it exudes everything that I feel like it's just in every part of our business, even how we work with other promotions. You know, even though they might be our competitors, like we want to make sure that we're holding everyone up, because really in the end, that makes us all better, right? So I feel like it's just in everything that we do, or at least we try to make it everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Thea Hale fan.
Best chance, but I'll see you.
Why Thea Hale? That's a familiar name.
Well, I want to take one step back because Brandon, you're telling us about how you started a wrestling school and you wanted it to be different than what was already going on.
Mm-hmm.
You told us earlier that you've done training with Kurt Angle. You are a wrestler yourself, so right? So tell us about your career.
I'm on the tail end of it. You know, it's hard to let go of something you've done. I'm 26 years in the business, but the last 5 I've been very like Undertaker schedule, just here and there. You know?
Well, hey,
he's working with Goldberg in Saudi Arabia next month.
Exactly. 5 minutes. Making that million.
But you know, I've had a great time. I could talk all day about it, but you know, my first 5 years, like I feel bad. It's kind of lost in the history of the internet was just getting big. That's how old I am. Everything's on VHS and things. So a lot of things got lost in the history of it. But in my first 5 years, I traveled a lot, did dark matches and things like that. I worked out with just all over the country and things. It was so much tremendous talent that, but there came a point in my life where, you know, I was a very young father and things, and I didn't want to, how can I say this, go to the level where I'd be on 300 days a year. And I just wasn't willing to make that sacrifice. And God bless the ones that are. I mean, that's a very tough life and all the power to them, but I just couldn't do it. So where was my passion always been? It was teaching. And so I eventually fell back into training and things like that and I enjoy it. That's where I'm very passionate about is my school. I love Ryse, don't get me wrong. And we're passionate. We're all 4 passionate about it, but just, there's a special place in my heart for teaching wrestling. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say, so you have a school that is attached to the promotion. Is that correct? Awesome.
Yes, we do.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say it's been around for about 6 years right now.
Yeah. I just had a follow-up question to my question earlier about how you named it and all that. I really like the fact that you're creating a positive environment for guys to learn, because so many times guys get thrown in there and they're treated like really trash. And guess what happens? They don't want to do it anymore. They give it up. I'm a high school basketball referee. So many guys just walk in and get screamed at by people for a year and they're like, screw it, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes people like me that's been around for a while to kind of grab them and be like, this is how it's going to be for a while. And you just kind of got to get used to it. And I like what you guys are doing with that.
Definitely.
I'm very proud of it. Like we've always, always we have our bad days, and we even argue sometimes, but we really try to keep everything as positive as we can. Because LeRusso, you can tell him too, as we grew up in our time, because you've been in about 20 years now. It was a lot.
20 years in November.
Yeah, it was like boot camp. It was like survival more than learning half the time. It was rough. It was a different culture back then.
Right.
So.
It was going to four corners and getting chopped.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. It was. Chopped. And don't get me wrong, training is still very physical and very hard, but we don't like stretch people or whatever. We don't haze them and beat them up.
No one's getting Sean Waltman's poop in their lunch.
Exactly, because like you said, somebody will come in and they have a passion for it, and then they get hazed or they get beat up, they get stretched, and it disheartens them right away, and they leave the art.
Because
I think it's
a hard sport, anyways, right? I mean, it takes commitment. Whether you're hazed or not, I mean, it's not an easy profession. So yeah, we can't make it harder on these guys and girls that are trying to come in and do their best, and
Yeah. What you gonna say, Chris? Sorry, I cut you
off. I do think that the mentality has changed, and you for a while there were sort of two extremes. There was the people who would just take anyone's money, and they didn't really have any care into how the person was trained. Sometimes the bare minimal and throw them to the wolves. The other
sometimes
extreme
not even train them.
Yeah,
Buzz Sawyer just took Magnum PA's money and said, "Screw off."
Yeah. On the other extreme, you had people who would exercise people to death, haze them, stretch them, try and do whatever they could to try and filter out what was perceived to be weakness. And I think that both of those philosophies over time have been proven wrong, and that you do need a certain amount of discipline. You do need a certain amount of, a standard of competence that is necessary to not only keep you safe, but also keep the other people you're going to be in the ring with safe. But I also feel like that you're at a certain point, it crosses the line from training to abuse, and I feel like Brandon has really, and Brandon's track record speaks for itself. I mean, I'm sure we can get to this, but I'll jump ahead and get to it right now. Brandon trained Thea Hale, Lee Moriarty, Lady Frost. Obviously had a Promise Braxton, who's now with Booker T School. Obviously, had a hand in training Kurt Angle, and in addition to that, the number of people who maybe didn't start as Ryse students, but who have, either joined Ryse later or worked with Ryse later on down the line. So Brandon's had not only success, but he's actually had a lot of success very recently. Those are three people that he's put, in 3 consecutive years. That's 3 people who've been able to get into contracts.
Awesome. I love Lady Frost.
And Brandon, how happy does that make you when you see your babies kind of get their wings and fly?
It's something else. And thank you, Chris, for all that. And Chris, I could say the same about you. He's trained and helped train a lot of people that are on TV right now. And he could probably tell you too, you get nervous. It's like you're proud papa, but you're nervous. Or like, oh boy, I hope they do good. And then you nitpick because that's what you do when you're a trainer and things like that. But like Thea's last championship match, I talk to Thea every week, and I don't want to know what's going on. I just kind of want to watch. And I was nervous. I was like, oh man, I think she might do it. And when she didn't,
it was draining.
It was really draining emotionally, but it's fun though. Like, but there's other things, and Chris will tell you too. Like, it's not just the people that make TV. There's other people that come through the school that maybe they never see the light of day of a show or anything, but they need this. And it helps change them. Like we have some autistic kids in our classes, and one of my proudest moments is when their mother came to me and said, "My gosh, how did they change in this year, and how they're so much more like outgoing and things." And honestly, like they're on Ryse shows, they're referees. And I love these boys to death. They're so great. It's one of my most proud moments. I'm just as proud as that as I am of like Thea Hill and everybody. There's other joys to training besides what you see on TV. But Chris,
as a special needs teacher, I get that completely. And I mean, just the little things, like you said, get them to be referees, get some more social interaction, which a lot of these guys and girls need. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, back to what you were saying. You mentioned Promise Braxton,
Yes.
Mhm.
and I've sang her praises on this show
Yes,
a
you
lot
have.
because I got to work with her a few months ago,
Oh.
and I even went to the promoter. I said, "We're not going to get her very many more times because that's a star."
Yeah, she is.
She's such
I mean,
a
it's all over her. She just and I hate saying things like that because it makes it sound like that you're saying that other people on the show are less than, which is not the case at all. It's just that you could tell that she's got it.
Mm-hmm.
There was just, I mean, there was just something about her, and I can't wait to work with her. I hope I get to work with her again. But
PWI said she's a top prospect. So I mean, it's incredible. And that was only an issue ago.
Yeah.
So
we were lucky enough.
Knows it.
We were lucky enough to have Promise in June,
Gigi
May,
Ray.
and against Gigi Ray, yeah. Which that's another talent from Booker's school who we got to see that they've been sort of taking that one around the loop, and wow, what a spectacular match that was. That was really, really, really good. We were like, and it was like you were saying, we were very lucky that the stars aligned and we were able to get her for a brief break in her schedule that allowed it. So
Yeah.
that was an incredible match, and if you get a chance to see any of Promise's matches with Gigi, absolutely check them out. And Brandon, is that one available online?
Yeah, it is on
Promise
our YouTube. Yeah.
Yes. So that one's available on Ryse Wrestling on YouTube. A couple of other. We're trying to get a little. You're trying to get to 200 subscribers. We're trying to get a little bit more
Well,
of
no,
our
I'm
product
not
out
because
there.
I looked at the back. No, I'm not. I'm not. I
So,
decided maybe
but,
that
That's
wasn't.
every one of our subscribers for you guys because I want to see them.
Oh,
but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely check us out.
I want to know, how did you get this beautiful girl in the middle, Megan, to come on board?
That was
She's blessed.
we were blessed by Chris LeRusso's smart eye for talent. Go ahead, Chris. I'll let you tell because that was yours.
Just Megan had been coming to shows in the Pittsburgh area for years, and Megan and I had become friends. And I think one of the things was that Megan had always, she would subtly say that, man, I wish I could do this, or man, I wish I could get out there, man, I wish I could, and I said, well, what's stopping you? And for a while, she'd give me any number of excuses. Well, I'm really busy, or I'm this, I'm that. Do you really think I'm good enough? Do you really think I was like, okay, hang on. My journey through wrestling. At the time, I had been working with another company, and Brandon had asked if I wanted the job in booking talent relations, and I said absolutely. I was looking to wind down my in-ring schedule, and once I had that opportunity, I was like, Megan, just come do it once. Just do a couple backstage ones. If they stink, don't worry, they'll never see the light of day. But
they all saw the light of day, but continue.
But give it a chance. And so she did a little bit of our backstage, and then she did ring announcing for us, and then she did commentary, and
Commentary?
she's always.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
I think I did the Promise Braxton match actually.
Yes, I think that was the show. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the show. But everything. She has just such incredible charisma. She approaches things very professionally, and takes copious amounts of notes, takes copious amounts of detail. I've never had to worry that that I'm not going to get the take that I need, or that the information or the story that I need told is going to be missed. And she's also done.
Just going back to what Ryse embodies, no one has that more than Megan. I mean, she is so positive, and she's so uplifting. She's so supportive of everyone in the locker room and our fans. And you can't teach that, and you can't get people to buy into that. It's not about buying into a mission or something. It's about, you just have to be it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Megan is that. And as soon as Chris brought Megan on, we were like, oh my gosh, yes. course.
Megan, I feel bad. The first time we met, me and my wife were arguing.
We
we
never
never fight.
argued.
We probably remember something stupid. It was before a show, and like, we're just both stressed, and we snapped at each other, and it never happens, but it did. And Megan's sitting there with her eyes really big, and I'm like, oh, that
I
was
don't even remember that. You mentioned that like a couple months ago, and I don't even remember that. I was just like,
I still remember it. It made me feel so bad.
You walked away, Megan, and
No, she goes, is there anything I can do to help? I was like, oh.
No,
this is
you've
how
done
wrestling
enough.
shows were made.
Christy's like, yeah, get him the hell out of here. That would help.
But Brandon looked at me and he's like, okay, we totally scared the crap out of her.
We have no one to do the backstage now, so
kind of piggybacking off of what Christy says. Megan just has that bubbly personality that is perfect for what she does for you guys. Kind of the mean gene of your show, which and she does a fantastic job with it. She's always upbeat, and I'm not just talking about on your show. I'm talking about in real life. So she lives her gimmick. She's a method actor in that way.
Megan also is very, very smart. She knows wrestling. She knows the history of it, and that
more than me.
I know
Legit.
More than any of us. And just so impressive with her amount of knowledge and really passion for the sport itself. Like, I just think that that's really important too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You mentioned something. She'll pull. I mean, especially
Random.
with the independent stuff. It's like she'll bring it out, and she knows exactly what you're talking about, and then she'll tell you something else.
Yep.
And I don't mean to keep kissing her ass. I guess I will one more time. But also, she's a real wrestling fan in the fact that she don't sit on the couch and watch Raw every night. She goes out to Ryse. She goes out and supports independent wrestling. That's how much she loves wrestling. And so that stands out, Megan.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say how a lot of us met was actually kind of around COVID, and it was ad-free shows with Conrad. Shout out to Conrad. And that was when Carl Mandick, who was a former news anchor, he was just doing this daily show. And I think I met him and Bruno and everybody. He's like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help co-host this a couple days. And it was just like, it wasn't really like on the podcast level, but it kind of was. And we actually got to interview Dan Bynum. I got to interview Che of the Nitro Girls, which ultimately led to ad-free shows doing a reunion of the Nitro Girls. Christine Johnson, who's a dear friend of mine. She was a producer with WCW. So, I mean, I was so blessed with that. I really enjoyed that. I actually interviewed Chris one time. I had Chris come on, and Josh Stevenson come on. So we got to kind of introduce them to this whole new world. But I actually enjoyed it. I always wanted a career in pro wrestling, but I was in a different era. And excuse my language, but my age, I came up in the early 2000s. It was kind of the tits on a stick era. They were calling Molly Holly heavy. I also don't like running. So like on Tough Enough made everybody run. So that's kind of scared me. But I'm not trying to knock myself, but I really just didn't meet that beauty standard of that time. And, when you have Jackie Gaeta, who's like 5'10" and like, boom, boom, I looked like I was 14, for probably the past 20 years. So I didn't know about independent wrestling, came out of college cheer, just didn't think, like, I just didn't know. Had I met Brandon or Chris or everybody, heck, who knows? Maybe I'd be wrestling in a steel cage at Payback and be bruised. So who knows?
I think that's so important, though. We want to change the future for Megans, right? We want the future Megans to know that anything is possible for them, right? And that
I want this Megan to know that.
Yeah.
She's awesome. Like she's
gonna be taking bumps here soon.
Honestly,
Megan
she has no idea how good she really is.
She doesn't. She's so humble.
She doesn't. She's
super
very humble.
Megan, that's my only critique of you. You always ask me for critiques. Is I wish you would speak your mind more because you are smart when you say stuff. You have great ideas.
Yep. And Megan and I, we did do some wrestling training with Dr. Tom, and so a couple of months ago. I still have a bruise from that, but she probably would be okay.
Oh, no, continue. I'll mention the tie-in after. There's a Pittsburgh tie-in, but continue.
Oh, I was just going to say, so I mean, there's nothing you could not do because you did wrestling training. You could get in there and get it done. I saw you. I know you can.
Amy, you killed it. And then we got to
No,
cut.
I did die, but they brought me back. No.
Oh, so I wanted to say a couple things about Amy and about that weekend. So this is a couple months ago in Huntsville. And Brandon, I'm like texting you like after I found out this little connection. So we're in the ring. Dr. Tom's like, hey, who wants to cut a promo? And I'm like, heck, this is going to be recorded. And I have Dr. Tom next to me. I'm going to talk about the new Ryse show. So I'm talking about the Ryse show. And after I did that, this guy named Barry Koloff, who runs Rocket City Championship Wrestling, who Ryse fans would know that I believe, who was, I think, Alexander
Hendricks.
Charles. And, who was it?
Jason Hendricks.
Jason Hendricks. They actually wrestled down there, not even knowing. And Barry Koloff, who runs that promotion, worked with Brandon K.
In my very early years.
Crazy.
Yeah. My first time I was triumphant was with Barry.
Oh, Brandon, if you want Megan to speak her mind more, just give her a couple cocktails before the show.
There you go.
She'll speak up.
Marking that down.
That's when my voice gets like this. My voice gets like this. We're gonna just stick with the water. But yeah, you're never too old. Amy and we actually got to participate in the Top Guy Tussle. You were the manager of a heel team, and I got to be the interviewer again. And that was so much fun.
Megan gave her spot up as a manager to me so that I could be a manager.
I was selected as the manager, and I said, nope, Amy's ready to go. And I said, I'm going to have Amy be the manager in my place. And then ultimately Conrad's like, let's just give the stick to Megan. And I'm like, oh gosh. So I got to interview Ricky Morton, and I got to interview Cabana Man Dan, and Frat Daddy Bryce Cannon. So that was a lot of fun.
We had Dan on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I love Cabana Man Dan. We got to bring him up to Ryse or something.
I know. Going back to Ryse, what about this weekend? You all have some big things going on this weekend.
We do. Chris, you want to cover some of it?
Sure. So Ryse Pro Wrestling, September 9th, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, at the Uniontown Mall, where we have recently moved to our new arena, which I believe was at one point the Sears hardware department. And you laugh, but we actually had our largest attendance ever back in July, and then if we didn't top it, we came pretty close at the Fayette County Fair in August. So we will that evening we will have a title unification match. You see the current interim champion, Cowpoke Paul, right up there on the poster. He will be wrestling the Reaper, Matt Connard, to determine once and for all who is the one true Ryse Grand Champion. I think both of these guys are phenomenal. Matt Connard's a longtime pro in the West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and now up into Pennsylvania in recent years. Cowpoke's been amazing, a Brandon K student who's really come on strong in the last year, has just been having phenomenal matches. I believe he is also attempting to set the record for the most number of matches for someone who has not signed.
I'm rooting for him because Cowpoke Paul just got all over me. I love that name.
Did you see the graphic where he's the rootinest, tootinest? I was reading it when she took it down. The rootinest. Put it back up. The rootinest,
cowboy in the Wild West.
Yeah.
Cowpoke Paul.
Can you tell me why is he the interim and the other one is your unification? What happened to have both of them have a belt?
Matt Connard, due to circumstances beyond our control, could not defend his title in August. And we've had some issues in the past where, if you cannot defend, taking a little bit of inspiration from the UFC. I don't think if you strip somebody of their title, I think, however, there should be a champion represented, and Cowpoke stepped up that evening in the main event. Really, a lot of that footage is also on our YouTube, so check that out. Cowpoke winning that's on our social media as well. I know it's X now, but it's still Twitter to me. Twitter, Instagram,
it's Twitter. It'll always be Twitter to me. Damn it.
So that a lot of the footage from that is available, and you can sort of see how we ended up here. for the Ryse tag team titles, a match that I honestly think could I'll put these two tag teams against any teams in the country, and I say that without any hesitation. Zach Nystrom and Elijah Dean, the tag team champions, Money Shot against Braden Elliott and Jake Wiley, the Rad Boys. Both of these teams are just absolutely out of this world. I think that for those of you who do appreciate some classic Zach Nystrom, a lot of people say that he reminds them of Barry Windham.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. I see a lot of Gino Hernandez in Elijah Dean. I see a lot of that attitude. I see a lot of that presence. And as far as the Rad Boys go, I mean, I think they're both really young. I don't think Braden can have a legal drink yet. And you
It's not
know,
allowed in our Star Bar.
yeah.
Wait, he can't,
I'm sorry?
he can't drink yet?
I'm fairly certain.
Oh.
But
hang out with Megan.
Braden and Jake, you know, they have only been teaming now for about 2 years. They are absolutely out of this world, very high energy. Again, I put both these teams up against some of the best teams in the country, and I think that they both should get, you know, hopefully get a look not only around the country but on the next level sometime soon.
Mike Boner saying that Money Shot, they had a match with FTR on
very brief one.
Hey,
but yes.
Believe me, I would take those 16 seconds and wrestle FTR if I had the opportunity. So there's my FTR shirt. Sorry.
You might get Elijah on this, so I would let's watch it, Mike. But I can't speak for Money Shot, but if they had to lose in 16 seconds to a team, it would be gladly to an Arn Anderson ran FTR. So
I also want to respond to the chat. Andrew Hermas said Justin is no cowboy. I just want to say, Andrew, I grew up on a tobacco farm and I took steers to the fair in 4-H. So F off over there.
Think about who Chris is trained, by the way. There's people that want to know who Chris trained in the business.
I did see that.
I've been very lucky. I've was training for about 6 years. I don't consider myself a full-time trainer anymore as I haven't taken a class. I'll poke in to Brandon's class and to a few classes in the area, but you know, I had a big hand in training Wardlow. Cole Carter, who was signed by WWE, is now with Ring of Honor and currently a client of Maria Kanellis. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Awesome.
You know, I think that I appreciate the shout out. I'm very proud of all my students. You know,
I was gonna say, Chris,
on whatever level.
Like Pittsburgh wrestling has been really good in the last I don't know, 8-9 years, and you're a big hand in that, Chris. Chris has trained a lot of the big independent talent too out there, and he's being humble. But I want to make sure he knows and everyone knows you're a very good trainer. He's very methodical and he's very nuanced and fantastic. If you get the chance to sit under Chris's learning tree, you should.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I think all of Pittsburgh is under Chris's learning tree right now, like Chris and Kay.
I think between me and Chris, we train like probably 70% of Pittsburgh.
Hopefully the Pirates aren't under his training. That's for you, Mike Bober.
I do have to. I just lost my headphones, so I have to go onto the camera, onto the phone right now. I do want to shout out a few more matches.
Yes.
We will have, if you have never seen Pure Trash Ron Mathis, I highly recommend that you seek him out. A lot of people say that John Moxley is the craziest person in professional wrestling. Ron Mathis is, I put him right up there with Moxley. I put him right up there with any of the wild brawlers in the business. Ron is something else, and he will be actually wrestling a debuting security guard who he's had a little bit of a problem with. The security guard, Phil, has been trying to keep him in line for months, and it just doesn't seem to be working out for him. And finally, they're going to settle their problems in the ring. Also, his stablemates in White Trash Forever, the mobile home wrecker Bruce Gray, and the Appalachian werewolf Tyler Vox.
I love that.
Interesting.
The mobile home wrecker.
Yes.
That's better than the cowpone or whatever.
Cowpoke.
I will say this. To pull the curtain back a little bit, I love Bruce Gray. He's a longtime veteran, really, really phenomenal wrestler. We try to run a family show, and as he was demonstrating how he was going to celebrate a victory that he thought he was going to have that evening, and I think we had to go with the NFL rules. All right, 2 thrusts is enough. Any more than that is not acceptable. But
that sounds like
Bruce
my
Gray,
sex
Tyler
life.
Vox.
2 thrusts is enough.
Oh, Lord,
two
help me.
is more than enough.
We have guests, Justin. You cannot say that. We have guests.
So for those that want to learn more about Bruce Gray and Tyler Vox, and of course we were talking about Ron Mathis, there's a lot of videos on our YouTube of us, especially as a female interviewer. They're kind of not the people you want to be interviewing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can bet.
To learn more about them.
Megan
check
doing
out our
the Lord's
social
work, trying to hold the mic for those 3 lunatics.
But
you
Tony,
know, we have,
the Iceman has a special, or he has a surprise guest, so they have no idea who it's going to be.
yes, Tony Johnson, who former grand champion. He's been on a little bit of a losing streak recently, but looking to turn it around with a mystery partner against White Trash Forever, Bruce Gray and Tyler Vox. Again, I'm trying to think. Big 8-man tag that evening, featuring the Great Success and some of the students from the Stronghold, as well as the Runway. That's Calvin Couture, Tyler Klein, Tad Jarvis, and Jace Mara versus Jason Hendricks, Gorgeous Gregory, Gianni Michael Enrico, and the Great AC8, the Great Success. These 2 factions have been each other's throats now for over 6 months. We're going to see what happens. We're going to hear from the former grand champion, Edric Everhart. Have not heard from him for about 4 months since he lost his championship. So we're going to hear from him for the first time.
It is a full packed show.
No kidding.
It's gonna be a really, really great show. We're really looking forward to it, and hopefully
these people.
David Lawless and Joshua Kavad. Joshua Kavad is actually from Uniontown and has finally had the opportunity to, he's really wanted to, he's been around for a while and wrestled across Pennsylvania and into West Virginia and in Ohio. But Ryse is the first time that he's actually gotten the chance to wrestle in front of his hometown fans. And I'll tell you, they come out and support. This one thing I will say about Ryse is they really, really, really support the local wrestlers, the local talent. And, Kavad always brings a huge crowd with him. Again, September 9th at the Uniontown Mall, we will have, last show we ran out of chairs. So if you are interested, please get your tickets now, RyseWrestling.com. Ryse Wrestling, one word, on Instagram, Facebook, X, all the social medias. Hey, come check us out, and you will not be disappointed. So, let's see, where's those of us not in Pittsburgh see this? Brandon, that is a Brandon K question. So
we recently just got a new production team, and we are working really hard within the next month to bring a lot more Ryse to our YouTube. So if you didn't, I think it's Andrew. If you don't get on that YouTube, go ahead and get them subscribed to that, because within about a month, you're going to get a lot of free content. We just want to get Ryse out there. We want everyone to see. If you can't make it here, we want you to have a place to watch and see how our how hard our guys are working for everyone and for the art of wrestling. We'll also have on our website within a couple months, we'll have full shows that you can buy, and we're going to try to do these super cheap, but we got to pay the bills too. So we'll let you know that price, but we're going to try to bring them to you pretty cheap. We are going to go like probably a couple months old just to keep our live events the most recent thing you can go. So yeah, check us out pretty soon. If you haven't, go to our social media, because we'll be making a lot of announcements on there of how we're going to start putting our product out there. So way more of you can see it now. It's
and
not
Brandon, we're since we're here, why don't we surprise people with an announcement for what they'll see in October?
Yes, that's a great idea.
So
you do that.
We obviously with it was talking about Pittsburgh and talking about legends, Bruno Sammartino, Kurt Angle. We obviously have to show a little bit of love to another world champion from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who will be making an appearance October 14th.
14th.
Bruno Sammartino?
No.
No, that would be
will
scary.
have
is
the
funny.
original.
We lost him right when
What a cliffhanger.
Chris, you probably don't know, but you cut out right when you was going to say who.
Okay. The franchise, Shane Douglas, will be
Franchise.
attending. So
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yes.
October
Amy, you should
14th.
come.
Gosh, I'm
Come on,
telling
Amy.
you.
Amy will drive for wrestling.
Do
I
it.
will. I drove to Alabama, or where we go?
Dave,
I live
you
in
should-
Mississippi, Amy.
It was Mississippi.
Dave, you need to go and bring the ECW title or NWA title so Shane can throw it in the on the ground.
I didn't let him throw it on the ground, but he did sign it.
So this is crazy. So we know this past weekend at All Out, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat made an appearance during that event. The day before, Tony Khan was actually at StarCast, and he was talking about how much he loves Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And something that he and I have in common is one of our favorite all-time tag teams is Shane Douglas with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh.
So it was really cool that Shane Douglas got an awesome shout out from Tony Khan. But I also wanted to ask you, Brandon, and you, Chris, I know you've met Shane many times, but have you guys ever wrestled against him or with him?
I have.
Have you, Chris?
Yeah,
I have not. I was on so many shows with him, but so when ECW was getting ready to go out of business, all those guys started touring the indies, and they really hit Pittsburgh up on a lot. And Chris, you probably did too. I think you were in the business when that was happening. But I've probably worked everyone in ECW but Shane, and I really wanted to work Shane, but I never got to. So Chris, you got to. So that's pretty awesome.
But no, Shane, I got to work Shane actually within the past maybe 5 or 6 years. I'd have to go back. I think it was maybe, I guess now it's not 5 or 6 years ago. 2016, 2017, I think I wrestled Shane. And, hey, he can still go. He's still the franchise. And he still is somebody who the people in Pittsburgh, and this is one thing about Pittsburgh being a wrestling town, Union Town, the southwestern PA, if you're from there, they will love you to the day you die. And Shane is Pittsburgh born and bred, and we're really, really fortunate to have him for our show in October. So,
Same trainer as Mick Foley, by the way, the famous Dominic
DiNucci. Yep.
Both trained under Dominic, so we got to throw that in there.
Is he going to be
Dominic.
signing stuff, or what?
Oh,
What is he
Dominic.
going? What is he
Dominic
going to be
trained my
doing
trainer.
for you all?
I'm sorry.
Well,
We're having a side conversation.
Shane will be available to. Shane will be available to sign things and to meet and greet the fans. But as far as what he will be doing at the show, you'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see what happens there. So.
I think we kind of glossed over something real quick. Like, Chris, I get the feeling you don't really like to talk about yourself very much because, number one, we just found out you wrestled Shane Douglas not too long ago. You trained Wardlow. What else do we not know about you being a wrestler? Are you like a world champion and you just don't want to tell us something?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Journeyman. I stuck pretty close to Pittsburgh most of my career. I was in the 2017 Ring of Honor Top Prospects tournament. I had a handful of matches with Ring of Honor and with some of the larger independents. Trying to think of any really big notable matches. I wrestled Luke Gallows. I wrestled Matt Riddle. I got to wrestle Davey Richards. Christopher Daniels.
That was the night I saw you for the first
Joaquin
time.
Wilde, Jonathan Gresham.
Did you ever do anything with
if I say I'll,
Sam Adonis
Corey
or Corey
Graves?
Graves? Did you ever wrestle
Sam
with
Adonis,
them?
Corey Graves.
Again, like
I'm just laughing because
have
like
you-
that.
who have you wrestled? No, not really anybody. Corey Graves.
Corey, we know him as
Well, he
Matt
was
because
Sterling
he's such
James
a.
Keenan when I wrestled. I never wrestled Corey Graves. I wrestled Sterling James
Oh.
Keenan.
Yeah.
So.
I got you.
So, does Ryse
sorry.
have a relationship with WWE? Do they reach out to y'all when they're in town for extras or?
They don't really do that so much anymore. It seems like, I don't know, Chris, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of times now, like what we do is have our students go on. They have an application process for extras, and we have them go through that process. And they do get called up, but I wanted to say it's because it's through Ryse. It's not. It's because their work doing their due diligence of getting their applications and things in.
No, there
However-
was a time though they'd reach out to the local promotions.
Yeah, that's how I got a lot of dark matches back in the day. They would reach out to local Pittsburgh promotions and say, "Hey, let's put this guy on." But we used to do ring crew for like Ring Honor and stuff a lot. We'd help out, but with the WWE, they have like a union now, and you can't really get in there unless you're in there, you know.
If Triple H would like to reach out to me, my phone number is
Well, Christy,
Hi,
as I alluded to earlier, Christy, Mike Bober is bitching about you booking dates, saying, "Christy, stop booking dates the same night as home Penguins games. I told you you can't book on the same night as home Penguins."
Why
games."
are we
you
catering to Mike
push
Bober?
me.
Because all I'm hearing Bober say is that hockey's more important than wrestling. So
I
why are we
know.
catering to
More
Bober?
important than his friend's promotion.
Well, I learned there's like 80 games. I know they're not all home, but my God, you can't miss one.
I know, right?
There we
Like
go.
I don't even understand that, Bober.
Dave, I kind of wanted to go back to what you said about, talent, work from Ryse, working for WWE, AEW, NWA, all these other promotions. I think the training and the expertise between Brandon Kay and Chris LeRusso and the whole team, I think it helps young talent, new talent, or even experienced talent. Like, okay, this is how you can get your name out there. This is how you can build a resume. This is what you need to do to get your name out there with these promotions, and maybe work a dark match, maybe work on TV. I mean, we have a lot of talent currently on the roster that's been on AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I
Promise
saw-
Braxton was on. Well, I don't know if that's AEW, but she
She's
wrestled.
on a lot of
She
Ring of
wrestled
Honor.
Athena.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor
Yeah.
I
champion.
mean, the national.
Oh
thing.
yeah, they sent her down to. I think they did it at Booker T's place, right? When she
I
worked.
thought she
at
did
him.
it for Ring of Honor.
She might have. Yeah, I talked to her about it, but I'm like, I'm flaky. I don't remember. But honestly, that was a big thing because they don't. I was talking to Thea actually about it, who was talking. She wanted to talk to me through me to prom. It was like a weird thing, but again, I was like really nervous for her, and it was a big moment. I heard she did very well, which is super awesome. You know.
Forgive my ignorance, but so I'm assuming that Thea's now on NXT.
Yes,
What's
She's
her
the
real name
cheerleader
on
on
NXT?
she's
the
in
cheerleader.
Chase U, and she's in she's Thea
Okay,
Hill.
yes,
Yeah.
I've seen her.
She's the one with all the energy in the world. Like she's running around like and if it's just to tell a cool story. Like the first time she was going out to wrestle, she was like, I looked in her eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's
An indie show.
An indie show.
Her first indie show with us on Ryse.
she was very nervous. And I was like, listen, here's what you do: just go out there and just scream and run and scream and get that energy, get that nervous energy, and just let it go out through the crowd. And she has not stopped since.
And can we mention who her first Ryse show was against?
Yes. Ray Lynn, who's a very, very outstanding female worker. Is she from Pittsburgh, Chris?
Raylan.
Ray Lynn, yeah.
I don't think originally. She. I think her family's from Pittsburgh. She's now down in Texas.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I think Thea might be close. And short of anybody who was signed without a single independent match, I think Thea has under 10 independent matches.
Oh, she has less than that.
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
I think she has under like 5 or 6. She didn't have a lot before she got signed.
She did one AEW for their web show. Ryse.
Against Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Let's have that.
You're right. It might.
That's crazy.
It might be under 5. Now that
Yeah,
I'm
it's
thinking
not a
about it,
lot.
It might be under. Yeah. So.
That's incredible. I mean, she's got a hell of a look.
Yeah. I want to add too, Ray Lynn is Chantilly-Cella on WoW, which is the promotion owned by the guy that owned Glow.
Yeah.
I like WoW.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
do too,
That's
and
pretty
I
It's
awesome.
a
know who you're
national
talking about.
promotion. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
that's who we're talking about when we talk about Ray Lynn. That's
Okay.
Chantilly-Cella with the purple hair.
Hey, Megs.
Purple.
I don't know if you saw in the chat, but we have some Ryse fans in there. Sarah Majetic said hi.
Yes, I know. Hi, Sarah.
And
I'm going to
Our
interrupt.
own Rick Fike, my bestie, is also on there. Just wanted to give some shout outs.
Bradley.
Hi,
Bradley's in
guys.
there.
Bradley is in there.
Yes.
So
We
thank
you for being here, and hopefully you'll be back again.
There's a few
Absolutely.
people I talked to today too. I think Cassidy said she was going to be on. So, and for those on the replay, thank you for
Yes,
watching. I think many are going to catch this on the replay. So thank you.
absolutely.
By the way, Bradley, I love you. Bradley's the best fan in Pittsburgh. I'm just saying.
Bradley might have his own merch.
Nah, not the best. We got a lot of good fans, but Bradley is
He's
so.
up there.
You know why I love Bradley is every event we have, after the event, he gives me a long thing about his opinion, and I appreciate it, and I tell him every time I love it. He's such a good fan. He's so passionate, and he's very honest, and I just love getting his feedback every
Yes.
event.
Good feedback.
So, tell me, since you have the school,
Mhm.
do you just do the one main Rise show, or do you have a second show that you just use the students for?
We're actually getting ready to launch a second show. Right now, we've been doing one show a month as our flagship Rise show. Our roster's getting a little big, and we're recently, I think maybe we're losing track of why I started Rise, but we don't want to mess with the formula that's working, because Chris has put together some great cards for the last couple of years. So we're going to start a new show, and this might be the first time I'm saying it in public. And all the thing we're doing is probably next month we're going to start it, but it's going to be specifically for younger talent to have a place to grow again. You know what I mean? Just
Uprise.
another almost like we used to have one. It was called Uprise, and when COVID hit, it kind of shut everything down for us. But we're going to bring it back. Yeah.
We did that.
I love
The
it.
school I went to at PCW in Arlington, Texas. The school show was on Friday night,
Yeah.
and then Saturday night was their main show.
That's a great idea, actually.
That is a great idea.
But it's pretty much a student show on Friday night.
Yeah.
I love how we're just getting all the scoops. We got a new show, Shane Douglas.
Uh-huh.
I've got to figure out how to get up to Uniontown in a month.
Come stay with me.
So in November, CM Punk, right?
Yeah.
Girl, I definitely
we cannot confirm that.
Pondwater. We actually have one of the members of the Rad Boys in our chat right now, Jake Wiley. He's coming for the Bird Belt. So if we can add, that's late breaking news, late breaking trash talk. Of course, as you know, they take on Money Shot.
What's up, Jake?
Welcome, Jake. We were putting you guys over just earlier in the show. You missed it.
Yeah, just watch the replay to get your props.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Do we have a
It's
graphic?
going to be Ted and Mark in November, right? Ted Mark.
We have talked about Mark, and we don't know the date yet, so let's not talk about
So
that.
is Jake the one that's not old enough to drink?
No, Brayden.
No, that's Brayden Elliott.
Okay.
We don't know. Can Jake drink yet? Either he
Yeah.
don't
Jake, can you
Jake,
confirm
I'm
or deny?
fairly certain is old enough to have a drink.
Okay.
So,
Actually, I
fairly
checked
certain,
the
but
idea.
I'm not carding him, so.
It's okay.
Okay.
Jake goes in the store for him. Got you.
Actually, they're both old enough to drink, guys.
Yeah, an orange day is good. Okay, sure.
Well, I tell you what, it looks like y'all have an. I love the artwork that y'all are using for your. I love the graphics.
Yeah.
Gotta shout out
Oh,
Jesse the Mark for that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse the Mark. I hope if you're watching, shout out to you. He does really good posts. All of our graphics are mimicked off a movie at some point of some
All
type.
of our main poster graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We used to be in a movie theater. That's where we ran our events out of, and we had a big screen and all this. So we kind of went with it. And
Oh,
when
wow.
we moved, I still like the idea because I feel like a lot of wrestling graphics look very similar. So we kind of take whatever the popular movie coming out is, and and he redoes it in like Rise fashion. He does a fantastic job.
Last
love
month was
that.
Barbie. You missed it. but
Yeah, last
the
month was
Barbie
Barbie.
one
Oh
was
yeah,
great.
that was for the
Oh,
Rumble.
yeah. I think we need to get a copy of this one of Cowpoke for Justin.
Cowpoke. That's right.
He liked that one.
I've been called that a few times in my life.
You been called the rootinest, tootinest
I am the rootinest and the tootinest. I've got all the rooting and the tooting over
Justin,
here.
come to Pittsburgh too. Let's go.
Hey, I'm ready. Like I said, I went to Indy, so
how far
yeah,
are
it's
you,
about
Justin?
the same. It's about the same. I think I'm about 3.5, 4 hours from Pittsburgh. So
forget that invite. You're gonna have to stay.
If you're going for wrestling, you don't have to worry about whatever.
I know. I don't have to watch
hockey,
any sports.
Football,
We're
whatever's up there.
That's right.
No, I definitely will be trying to come in the next year, Megan. We'll have to set up a date.
Yes,
I will show up.
Please do.
I know
I've
we're
never been to Pittsburgh.
What's that?
I've never been to Pittsburgh.
Oh, you have to come down.
Congratulations, Dave. I'm sorry.
I've never been to Pennsylvania.
Do it.
In our chat, because I feel like we're patting each other on the back, but we're just really proud of each other. I think, and what we've grown from, like drawing 50 fans to drawing 400 last year. Yes. But Dean Rafford's in there, and he's the best wrestler coming to West Virginia. He's biased because he works with us, but Dean's another fantastic trainer in Pittsburgh area. And if you ever need a future guest, Dean's got a lot of cool stories.
Dean's phenomenal. Yeah, a lot of good stories. A lot of good stories from Dean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we love stories, so that'd be fun.
Well, I think, is there anything else we want to cover on Ryse Wrestling? Is there anything we haven't covered, guys, that you guys would like to talk about?
I just wanted to shout out to the fans. I mean, gosh, I feel like we have our own fan base, and I think that's very important. It's just a testament to all the superstars that we have, but also to all the friendships I feel our fans have made with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I met a lot of my wrestling friends. Is just you go to a match, you meet this person, and then you start building your circle. And that's something that is really awesome, is to see like new friendships forming and people coming to our shows month after month after month. I don't know what you guys think, but
I think that the after parties really help. We have a local restaurant that sponsors our after party. Sponsors our after parties. DeMarco's, again, huge wrestling fans, and we love them, and they've been super supportive and give us a nice home base to kind of land after shows with our fans and our workers. So
that's a really cool concept. I've never heard of that. You guys do a little after party at a local restaurant, so the fans get interaction with you guys after the show, which is really
a little bit, yeah.
It's really nice because there's like a couple levels. So like some wrestlers, they don't want to mix with fans. They're tired. They just want to be. So there's a lower level where it's just for the wrestlers, and then there's a middle level that's it's for everyone, fans, wrestlers alike. So it's a really good for everyone, whether you want to be an introvert or an extrovert. It's a good place to hang out after the event,
Yep.
Awesome.
I mean, even Pillman hung out with us after an event. Yeah. Remember, he's just like sitting, eating pizza, actually wings. He's only protein. But he's just eating wings, and we're just
he was eating pizza that night. And
was he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping a handle on Pillman's. Oof.
That's your job, Chris.
I love Brian. We actually we originally were going to have Brian for this upcoming show, but then unfortunately, Brian's success came very. So I got to tell this story real quick. I obviously the rumors were that Brian's contract had expired with AEW and that he was going to be a free agent, which to me was like, oh, this is great. I'll have more opportunities to use him at Ryse. I got to meet Brian very early. I think I actually met Brian before he went to Lance Storm's school. I met him through a couple of some Storm Academy graduates who he had been talking to, and so I think I met Brian before he left for Calgary. So anyway, he's wrestled in the Pittsburgh area, and we used him a couple of times, and I find out that that he's going down to talk to some people at WWE, and so I call him like Brian, how did things go? And he goes like, oh, it went well, but I don't think anything's going to happen. They said they're in a hiring freeze, and so I'm like, okay, and I called Jesse, and I'm like, okay, publish the Pillman graphic. We'll have no problem with that. So we advertised him for approximately 48 hours. And he messages me back. He's like, yeah, man, I'm not going to be able to make September. And I don't think I'm going to be making any dates for the next few years. And I said, really? He's like, yeah. Like,
he was really great to have in, though.
Yeah, he's a real good dude.
Yeah. He was
Do you
he was
ever-
great to work with.
Do you
I
ever
don't
have
think I
somebody
can drink so
booked
many
and
more
then the
Irish car
rumors
bombs,
that they're
though.
signing somewhere start and you're wondering if they're actually going to get to appear?
All the time.
Yeah, like
yeah.
it feels like every time.
Yeah.
But like that was our last case. Like soon as we advertised it, I saw the rumor. I was like, oh, I hit Chris up. I was like, what do you think? He's like, I talked to him. It's okay.
I mean, but you're happy
did,
for your
and then,
guys.
You
that they're gonna get the
are.
Oh, yeah,
opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's one of those like you can't be upset. Like it's awesome
No, of
for him.
course
It's
not.
great, you know. Well, we'll deal with it. You know, our
Yeah.
fan base is very understanding, and I'm sure they're very happy that someone they just saw in one of our events is now, you know, he's having his day in the sun. So, yeah,
And-
it's very cool.
I think it was like Thea Hale's second day of training here. And Brandon came home and he's like, yeah, she's going to get signed. I don't even know if I'm going to finish training her. Like, they're picking her up as soon as she turns 19. And he's like, and I was like, oh gosh. So, and I think we got one show out of her and she signed shortly after that show. And we were like, you know, you're happy. You're so excited to see them. But at the same time, you're like, we wish we had a little bit more time.
It seemed like Brian Jr. was a free agent for about 6 hours. after
Yeah.
he left.
It was-
I think he
you
might
know,
he might have been.
It would have been really cool, Brian in the old Bengals tights. He could have been an ultimate heel in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
for you guys.
I think
That's
he
true.
wore those. I
true.
think he wore those for our show, and he was beloved for the
Really?
for the 2 shots, 2 or 3 shots we had him.
Yeah.
We the only time that I can remember Ryse being featured on Botchamania, however, does involve Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh no.
because Brian, for whatever reason, we have the pipe and drape for the entryway, and for whatever reason, Brian just could not hit the entry. It just came through the sidewall every single
Every
time.
Every time.
And we had arrows on. I thought I had to be a rib at some point. I was like, come on.
I mean, maybe it was. Maybe,
No way.
But he would come out shot out of a cannon and like,
Bust
but
through the
every
wrong
time
button.
just right through the sidewall. It's like, Brian, you're killing me here.
Well, I think it was a rib. I think he did it wrong, and you guys told him. He's like, I'm just going to keep doing it to screw him.
Yeah,
That's
very,
what I
very
did.
well might have. Yeah.
I did that in trivia last week when we were doing Know Your Mics, and I guessed Mike Sharp on the first question, so I just guessed Mike Sharp for the rest of the time.
The rest
just
of
to screw with him. Yeah.
And he never was on there. It didn't even matter.
Well, and you know what? I start sounding like a broken record when I say this, but you know, just what we've talked about tonight with Ryse, I'm always telling everybody that you support independent wrestling because the wrestlers that you're seeing today, you're going to see them later.
Yep.
They're not any different than what you see on WWE and AEW and Impact. They've just gotten the opportunity.
Yeah.
They're just on a smaller screen.
But you can catch them while you can, because I mean, you take Thea. You got her one time and she was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you had your chance with Pillman Jr. Now he's gone, and and there's a sense of pride. You know, when I started training, I was in the ring with Athena, and then when I saw her, now she was Ember Moon, and then she's back to being Athena, but you're just you're so proud, and I don't know that proud is the right word. I mean, maybe it is. I mean,
I think
it's
it's a
not a
good one.
condescending proud. It's just you're happy for your friends that they got there,
Yeah.
and when you're sitting in the crowd watching people, and then you see them on TV. Hey, I remember them.
Right.
That wasn't his name, but I remember that guy.
Well,
You
like
know what?
you
You know
said,
what this has made me realize listening to these guys and as much independent wrestling stuff that we do each week with different people. Wrestling is a family top to bottom. Everyone knows there's a connection to everyone, whether you're in Ryse or Tri-State Wrestling with Jared. There's a connection to these people were here, now they're in WWE. And wrestling really is a family in that way. It's, independent wrestling is nothing more than, training just like, the top football players get at college and high school. And so, there's these relationships that develop throughout, all of that. And it's really cool to see.
Also, I think it's also just the idea that you're watching people's dreams come true. It gives you hope, right? your dream might not be to become a WWE wrestler, but it gives you hope that like dreams still, with hard work and determination, like you can make those dreams come true. And I think that's what you get out of watching your friends or people, reach that next level. And you're like, man, this really does happen. It really does. It does pay off, right? If you put in the time and the effort. So I think that just being a part of that is so special. And, I am not a trainer. I'm kind of just the wife of Brandon K. And, I do the business side.
I would say you're very you do the
but
business
still,
side.
Oh my
but I
gosh,
can't.
Christy. Yeah, we
but
can see
still,
your previews all
like,
day.
you know what I mean? Like, just being a little tiny part of it is just like so.
Shannon.
I don't even think you're a tiny part of it because I think
she's
Brandon would. I think Brandon would admit that he wouldn't even have anything without Christy there to take, like he said, take care of the business side of everything.
It's absolutely true.
It's
absolutely true.
Christy, why don't we get some tag titles for us? We can challenge for
Done.
that championship.
Done.
Do you have?
But all I got to say, Christy, is you better not schedule a booking on the Penguins home game.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Do you have a women's title?
Chris, you can cover that because we're getting ready to do something there, aren't we, Chris? It won't be till next year. I think he froze.
On my
Oh, there you go.
yeah, my I went back to buds. I'm sorry. Repeat that, please.
Yes, we have a women's title, and we just had this conversation. Was it today? Was it this morning?
We're
gonna start.
Yeah, it was this morning, and I got to give we've had some phenomenal talent, women's talent come in and out of Ryse. Laura Lovelace, who I know very well, has been representing the women's side, but there's Megan Myers, who's now down at the Nightmare Factory. We had Sumi Sakai come in earlier in this year.
Have you booked Kaya McKenna any?
That was who
I know of
messaged
Kaya
you.
McKenna.
Okay.
I know of Kaya McKenna.
We love her.
There's been a couple, and there's a lot of talent out there, and both in strictly on the independent level, and also some people who are working with GCW or the NWA or Major League Wrestling, or so there's a lot of talent out there, and I also think that there's a lot of younger talent out there. I think that probably women's wrestling is going to get a lot more love coming in 2024. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities there, and we've talked about not just with Promise and a few others, but and some of the local girls. We'll definitely have a women's title here, probably in the next year or so.
I think women's
Exactly.
wrestling is really important, especially on the independent level, because, like Eric Bischoff always says, you want to give people a buffet. You may not like this, you may like that. And me going to a couple independent shows in the last few years, the women's match always gets over big time.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember a time when the women's match was crickets.
Yeah, sure.
And
Not anymore.
It's not like that anymore. Now the men are having to step it up because the women are outperforming them.
But isn't that exciting to see? Like women's wrestling has really evolved, and I think that we're in a time right now where women's wrestling is fierce, and that's exciting. That's
one of my favorite matches. Was it last year, Lady Frost and Zoe Sky? You can.
I was just going to bring that up. That was in October. October 2020.
That was really good.
You can find it on YouTube. You can check it out for free too. But it's really good.
so good.
And I might be a little bit biased, but I'm also going to mention Laura Lovelace versus the Honey Badger, Regina Honey Badger. They had a hardcore match that was about as crazy as any of the violent brawls we've had, with maybe the exception of Ron Mathis. They went all over the building. That was in Baldwin, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and that was a really good match. So there's two right there from Baldwin that I think that shows the caliber of female talent that we have come through Ryse, and hopefully just get bigger and better in the future.
Are those matches on your YouTube channel?
They are, yes, both of those.
Okay, awesome.
I don't think Laura and Honey Badger is yet, but I'll put it up since we're
Put
talking
that
about
one
it.
up because that.
Go ahead.
I know Thea
that's a pretty good
on
one.
there, and Lady Frost and Zoe Sky, and I'll put that one up here in the morning, and so we'll have them all up there. Yeah.
I just, now that Amy said that, I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to plug, while we think about it, plug your Twitter gimmick and everywhere that people can follow Ryse Wrestling.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok, at Ryse Wrestling for all of them. Am I missing
Ryse
anything?
with a Y.
Ryse with a Y. We're on
RYSE.
And we're just starting our YouTube, and that's where I highly suggest if you really want to see what's coming up for Ryse and things like that, we're going to really be putting a lot of work into getting our product out there on YouTube and places where you can see it. If you can't make it to an event because you live far away, we still want you to be able to enjoy Ryse. So look for that. Get on there soon because probably within a month or two, we're still hashing out the schedule that you'll be getting a lot more of us online.
Our website also has a great merch store, so get all of your Ryse merch. And swag.
And your tickets. And your tickets.
And your tickets to our shows.
And I wanted to bring up one other thing too for those that are listening to us from the Pittsburgh area. We do have a Patreon page, and we have different tiers of Patreon. But one of my favorite tiers is actually the $20 tier. And with that $20 tier, is you get access to exclusive matches, backstage content. You get news about upcoming matches before everybody else, and like special guests. But you also get a ringside ticket with that 20. So you're guaranteed that ticket every event. So for $20 on Patreon, subscribe if you live in the area.
You get to go to all the shows free with your $20 Patreon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win right there. It's a win-win.
Well, because the ticket from earlier. I mean, that's
the ticket's
basically the price of the ticket. Basically the price of the ticket.
If you know you're coming, you should just go to our Patreon and get it because you get all the other content for free. Yeah.
And like and subscribe their YouTube. I'm getting ready to. I live in Huntington, West Virginia. I'm not very far. I want to see what's going on so I can plan. So do that. And
we're holding you to that.
I will.
Yes.
And please like and subscribe Talking Wrestling on YouTube with Pondwater Dave as well. So go ahead and hit both of them while you're listening.
I want to see this chip challenge, everyone at Ryse. So please do this for me.
pwdpod.com will take you to our YouTube page.
You heard that. Go there, like, subscribe, do all that right now so we can watch the one chip challenge, which I'm very excited about.
Yes, I'm not, but okay. I'm not excited at all.
I know.
And we're not going to be satisfied with 200, but that's our next.
Right.
But that's our next goal.
What you don't understand, Brandon, is that me and Amy are behind the 8 ball because what Pondwater does for a living is sling flaming hot Cheetos. So that some bitch is a pro at this.
Yeah,
He's been training for this for life.
But this has This has Carolina Reaper in it. When I went to Disney World, we did the Epcot thing, and they grow Carolina Reapers, and the people that go in there and tend to them wear hazmat suits. There's no part of their skin exposed in that room.
Yeah, I've had friends do that, like with the one chip challenge. Wear gloves. That's my biggest. They all say, "I wish I wore gloves because if I touch anything,
don't scratch your balls after you eat the chip."
One of my favorite comedians. One of my favorite comedians did this the other night. His name's Carter Anderson. He's the one that does the. He puts the eyes in the mouth on restaurants, and then Taco Bell comes in and says somebody else's slogan. That is not your slogan, bitch. He's hilarious, but he did the one chip challenge, and with all the different potato chips telling him that wasn't a good idea.
Even salt and vinegar was
but
like,
he had gloves on though.
Flaming hot Cheetos is like, don't do it, don't do it.
So before we say our goodbyes, I've got something. Teppy, can you bring up the picture that I wanted to bring up for our buddy Andrew Hermes, who said I was not a cowboy? Look at that. Look at that right there. Tell me I'm not a cowboy, Megan.
You have really.
Oh my God. Look at that belt.
Where's your belt buckle?
Look at the cow's ass.
That's for you, Andrew Hermes.
Oh, that's the best. Look at you.
That is cute.
You can't tell me that guy didn't have a cassette tape of Garth Brooks.
Oh, absolutely. I had his shirt.
I can hear it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Standing Outside the Fire was my favorite damn song at that point in life.
I was going to say, I feel like you watched 8 Seconds several times.
Well, let's, after all that, we've said enough. We've said it all, I think, Dave.
I can't follow that.
Yes.
Thank
This
you
has
guys
been
so
so
much.
much fun. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for having us.
We wish
Thank
y'all
you
all
so
the
much for
success.
coming. Yes.
The door's always open if you ever want to come back and promote what you have going on. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you guys are always welcome up at Ryse, please.
I'm coming.
Check
I
us
go ahead
out.
and
We
warn
can't
you.
wait.
Pondwater's the
We can't
referee.
wait.
Yes.
Pondwater
Amy or
refs
Megan,
for his
if
last
they don't
match.
sell beer at the Sears old Sears building, then you're going to sneak me some in. That's all I'm saying.
There is a Japanese restaurant in the mall that does sell beer.
Oh,
Trust
there
me.
we go. I'm ready now. I'm good.
I'm
You're
telling
taken
you, it's
care
so
of.
cool that y'all went from a movie theater into a mall, because the promotion
Yeah.
I started went from the mall to an old movie theater,
All right.
and they just took a sledgehammer and knocked the cinder blocks out from one and it-
theater to another.
and backstage had like a boxing ring and a wrestling ring
Oh wow.
and in a gym, so it was
Yeah.
an actual gym. But then you'd go through Gorilla, and then there was a ramp that came down because you'd walk through where the wall was knocked out into
Yeah.
the movie theater.
Oh, that's awesome.
Aw, cool.
And to this day, it's still my favorite place I've ever. Well, I take that back. I had a good year last year, but up until then, my favorite independent arena was working in that old movie theater. So
Yeah. We have fond memories of that old spot.
I
Yeah.
bet. Cool.
Before we go, when is the next Ryse show and where? And go ahead and tell all of that again.
September 9th at the Uniontown Mall, 1358 Mall Run Road in Uniontown. Come join us. We're on the right or the left side of the building. It's a very big building. Come to the left side and around back, and you'll see all of the cars and ring truck and all that. And we'll be right there with signs and stuff. It's gonna be a great event. Please, and if you can't make it, like I said, to keep check on our YouTube because they're getting a lot of content coming up very soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Dave,
Thank
you got
you guys
anything?
so much.
Thank you guys. You got anything before we go, Dave?
well, if you're in Louisiana and you can't make it to Pittsburgh for Ryse Saturday night, we will be in BIW. Will be in West Monroe at the West Monroe Civic Center. Angel Camacho will be defending his championship against Adam Asher, Apocalypse. This will be APOC's last chance. And then Ray Fury will be defending his title against 50 caliber Barrett Brown.
Yes, Ray Fury. We had him on not too long ago. He's fun to watch.
So it's going to be. It's
yeah.
gonna, and West Monroe always shows up real well for us, so we're really excited about being back there.
All right.
Nice.
Well, there you go. You got two choices to watch some great wrestling this weekend. Andrew Hermes has given me hell because I said I like standing outside the fire, and he said Colin Baton Rouge is way better. So, anyways, for the great Pondwater Day, for the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn, for Meighan Nelson, the wonderful Meighan Nelson, Brandy and Christy, and Chris LeRusso from Ryse Wrestling, take care of yourself and each other. So long, everyone.
Bye.